niggas have motion except for me. There has to be one real nigga left in America, in this damn country.
For me.
Hit that like button, some of y'all. Get those likes up, y'all. Let's get this thing started, man. Your boy Stephen A. Smith wants to be president. I don't know what made him decide to jump into it. He's been flirting with it for a little while now, though, but he finally decided he wanted into the game, y'all. Man said he won't run. What does that mean for the Democrat Party, and what would his platform actually be? Because we're really getting to the point where Stephen A. Smith is going to be like the last black man on the Democratic ticket. He might be their last best nigga. And that's not really saying a whole lot, but that's where we are right now. He is their last black man.
black boys and black men are raised deity as worthy of worship. I don't want to denigrate anybody's mother, but our lives as men, particularly those of us that are believers, we're not here to serve our mothers. And that pursuit of serving our mothers is what has feminized our culture, caused so much chaos and dysfunction in our culture, has made black women pursue a husband-like relationship with their son rather than pursuing a proper relationship with their former husbands, should have been husbands, baby daddies, or whomever. Black women have hatched a plan. I will have a baby, a child, make him my husband, make him serve me for the rest of his life, make him dream and fantasize things he should dream and fantasize about God and Jesus Christ, make him have those dreams about me. And I get that for many women, this is difficult to hear. They listen to Stephen A. Smith, and every woman is sitting there, oh, I hope my son talks about me that way one day. And what they should be saying is, I hope my son talks about Jesus Christ that way one day. Because if he does, I'll be just fine.
What Jason Whitlock is talking about right now is the CBS interview that Stephen A. Smith just did immediately after announcing his run for the presidency of the United States, which what that really means is his very introductory message to the world happened in that interview as a presidential candidate. And the very first thing that Stephen A. Smith did in that interview was glaze his mom for about, I don't know, like 8 minutes straight.
And if my son, in service to Jesus Christ, I'll be treated properly. I won't be worshiped. I won't be a deity. I won't be someone that his whole entire life is bent around. That he'll follow Christ. He'll get his own wife. He'll have his own children. He will be involved in that activity, not sitting around every day thinking about what can I do for mommy, as Stephen A. Smith said. This is the poisonous, unbiblical, satanic, divine worship of the feminine mentality plaguing the Black community.
Nobody is calling out the president, Donald Trump. I will. And I'm not going to call him names and all of this stuff like stupid folks on the left doing, engaging in incendiary rhetoric. It's unnecessary, it's immature, and it's uncalled for. He's the president of the United States. Treat him with the respect that he deserves, but in the same breath, call him to the carpet for stuff that he's doing.
All right, that was Stephen A. Smith, host of ESPN's First Take. He's one of the most, maybe the most listened to sports commentator in America. Lately, he's been talking a lot about politics. And this week, he opened the door to a possible run for president in 2028. So joining me now, Stephen A. Smith. Thank you very much for being here on This Week. So
happy to be here.
We'll get to your possible political future in a second, but you said when Trump got elected, we should give him a chance. How's it going? I mean, what's your take on where Trump is now at day 80 plus?
Well, I don't like what I'm seeing, but I'm not surprised. I mean, this whole tariff war situation is utterly ridiculous. I mean, my attitude is that he should have immediately targeted China and not every nation on the planet, for crying out loud, just throwing tariffs at everybody. Ultimately, he dialed that back, as we saw over the last few days, and folks on the right are up in arms. Basically, I should say, I mean, positively, essentially saying that was the plan all along. There doesn't appear to be a plan. Let's be very, very clear about that. It seems to be a bit very haphazard and just thrown against the wall to see what will stick. But in the end, what you have to applaud him for is for trying something. We're spending about $2 trillion more, than we're raking in. We're losing our credit rating. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in the United States of America financially, economically, that has been, tinkering towards disaster, and somebody had to do something. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, I can understand the need for tariffs, as Senator Elizabeth Warren had articulated. But in the end, what it comes down to is that it does seem to be a bit haphazard, right? And it seems geared towards large businesses, when we all know small businesses is what makes this country thrive. And I don't see him targeting that nearly enough, but we shall see.
Now you gotta wonder, what does Stephen A. Smith bring to the Democrat ticket? Someone in the chat mentions blocking Gavin Newsom, which obviously that works for us as like right wingers over here, but what can he bring to the Democrat ticket that would actually help him? Because here's my crazy conspiracy theory thinking about the whole thing, right? The Democrats are having a man problem, and because of the nature of the Democrat Party coalition, they're having a black man problem in particular. As the black male vote starts to unravel, the black vote itself will begin to unravel, and so on and so forth. And the Democrats really need to stop the bleed in that department. Stephen A. Smith would be a great foil against that kind of thing just snowballing out of control. He would be the last black man worth listening to on the blue ticket, which isn't saying much still, but that seems to be the position that they've gone to, that this is where they are right now as a party.
I mean, this is one thing he's been consistent on forever. He's been saying America gets ripped off in trade. He's been an advocate of tariffs, even before he was an advocate of, stopping immigration. What about this idea that we can bring back American manufacturing through tariffs? I mean, is that realistic? Is it plausible?
Well, listen, there are better minds than me that can answer that question. I can't see that happening. I think they've said that we've lost over 5 million manufacturing jobs over the last 20 plus years or so. I don't know if that's coming back, particularly with the age of AI, Chat GPT, and other things coming into the forefront. I just can't see that happening. But again, if that's the song that you want to sing to the American public, to the constituency out there that you think is going to vote for you, he seems very convincing in letting people know what he feels and getting them to see his way of thinking. But I think it's a byproduct rather, of the Democratic Party and the fact that they don't seem to have any mission, any vision, any kind of leadership. They seem rudderless, to say the least. And now it's at a point where they're getting mocked religiously. And so as a result of that, you're going to look at him, and regardless of the troubles that you think he might bring forth, unless things become disastrous economically, the fact of the matter is the American people have already said during the last election, he's a bit more normal or closer to normal than the Democratic Party. And that's where the real problem lies. It might be a two-party system, but there's only one party running this country right now because the Democrats have no muscle whatsoever.
Well, let me ask.
Listening to Stephen A. blather on a bit, it occurs to me that what the Democrats really need is a black man with Stephen A. Smith's linguistic acuity. They need a talker. They need a black man who is obviously straight. His sexuality is not in question. His Democrat loyalty isn't in question. And he's a talker. And one thing Stephen A. Smith is a damn talker. He knows a lot of words, and every now and then he strings the words together in a way that makes sense. And so for a lot of black people, that's like a home run. You got a black man that says words and he puts them in the right order, like I'm halfway there. And so I think what the Democrats are trying to do right now is to corral the black male vote, the remaining black male vote, because there is a lot of disenfranchisement among the younger, but even among the older black men as well. There is just a general dissatisfaction with the party or some type of rightward shift because the Democrats have gone in one direction or another that a lot of men just aren't happy with. But now I want to take you to yesterday where Stephen A. Smith actually released this interview. And like I said, he spent the opening minutes of the interview glazing his mom. I don't think you really hear that often from presidential candidates. Oh, I'm
Not Smith and
sorry.
Everett. So Elizabeth
I
Warren
didn't
talked
even
about.
switch over the. Hold on a minute. Let me switch that over. My bad. I didn't even switch the audio over.
Or your children. For me, though, before any of that happened, I had mom. And my mother was the greatest human being I've ever known. And, you know, she was, it's just hard to put into words how special she was.
It's been 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think about her every day?
Every day. Every day. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about her. I remember I cried every day for 2 years. It's the only time in my life I ever went to therapy. I ever felt I needed therapy. And the irony now is that.
Now, I want you to understand, this is a black man on the Democrat ticket. He just announced his bid for presidency. And one of the first things he talks about in his opening CBS interview, my mom died 8 years ago, and I cried for 2 years after it happened. I went to therapy and everything. I don't know how I'm going to live without her. Let me guide you people to the future now. Like, no, bro, no. Go back and talk to your mom some more, bro. Maybe you're not over it yet.
When I think about going back to therapy, because I think about that now, the only reason I think about it is because of her. Because I can't get over how much I miss her.
She told you never to be a victim, never to complain.
Well, she didn't say never to complain. She said don't live in those complaints. Because
you're allowed to have a take.
You're allowed to have a take. You know what I'm saying? You're allowed to go through those things. But she was like, she was one of those people that, you know what, life is life and it's not going away. And you got to learn to deal with adversity. And she did all of those things. Even though she feels otherwise, I would say the one thing she never prepared me for was to lose her. Because there's so many people. I'm very, very blessed to have the people around me that I have. I have a lot of loving people. I have a lot of love in my life. And the people who love me, the people that work with me, the people that work for me, the people that I work for, my family.
Is he trying to run for president, or does he want to be like America's black uncle? Like, let's talk some presidential stuff. All right, enough about your mom. He's gonna glaze his mom for quite a while here, so I'm not gonna make you listen to all of that. But at some point, he does start talking like political stuff.
Really the goal.
What's next for you? Show after show, success after success, contract after contract. What's next for you in this journey?
To be elite at what I'm doing.
What does that mean?
To be recognized universally as one of the best ever at what I do in the same process, to explore where we go from here.
Could you run for president?
It's possible.
Would you run as a Democrat?
Yeah, because I couldn't see myself running as a member of the GOP. I'm a fiscal conservative. I can't stand high taxes, but I'm a social liberal in the same breath because I believe in living and let live. I pay attention to the desolate and the disenfranchised. Yes, I like strong borders. That's absolutely true. We never needed open borders, but we don't need it to be completely closed either. We're a gorgeous mosaic.
Sounds like you're getting a stump speech ready, Stephen.
No, there's no stump speech, but I can give it. I can tell you this much. I can give a speech without a note in front of me.
Could you be competitive in a Democratic primary? Some big names might run. Gavin Newsom, the California governor, among many others.
I respect all of them in terms of their intellect, in terms of where their heart lies, in terms of the service that they want to provide to this country. But ultimately, your actions speak louder than anything. Gavin Newsom is somebody that I think has tremendous potential if he moves towards the center. But ultimately, affordability with taxes in the state of California, the homelessness, the crime, he's going to have to answer those questions, being a prisoner, the environmentalist out there. He's going to have to answer those questions. You're somebody like Josh Shapiro, Wes Moore. I have profound admiration for both. I would support any one of them. But when I think about Josh Shapiro, I think about pro-Palestinian supporters that felt that he was excessive in his support for Israel. How much votes would he get in the general election when you have people throughout this country that have been shifting somewhat to that side? Not totally, but to some degree. I think about Wes Moore. I wonder if the Barack Obama element would hold him back. Black president, okay, is America ready for another one?
How would you handle race if you got into the contest?
I would be who I am.
Does you worry about racism if you ran for president?
No. I know it exists. I know that you can't escape it, but I do not believe it is as prevalent as some on the left left would like us to believe. I do.
What does that mean, Stephen A. Smith, that you can't escape racism? Is racism some kind of boogeyman? Is it like a homicide detective running you down for a body 20 years ago? What is it? What do you mean when you say that you cannot escape racism? I don't understand. I wish people would elaborate further on these ideas. People just throw these kind of one-off shots about racism and white supremacy or whatever. They just throw these things out there like they're unquestioned truths. Like, I don't even understand what you mean, bro. You're gonna have to elaborate a little bit.
Does you worry about racism if you ran for president?
No, I know it exists. I know that you can't escape it, but I do not believe it is as prevalent as some on the left would like us to believe. I do believe a vast majority of Americans judge you on the content of your individual character rather than the color of your skin. I think a lot of people in America, especially in this day and age, now more so than ever before. It's not about race. It's about the fact that they don't give a damn about it because they got them going on to the degree that it was decades ago. What's going on now is that we have more white Americans and others suffering and worried about the state of our nation. And because they're concerned about that, that's where
Now, that was a very
lot of them
nice
watch
touch, Mr. Smith. And I got to tell you, that is what makes him valuable to the Democratic ticket. He is a natural born talker. And this is a very, very common attribute in the Black community. There are a lot of men in various walks of life who have just mastered the gift of gab, the art of game. They can just talk and create a world. They literally building sandcastles in the sky in your mind. And so what Stephen A. Smith just did on the question of racism, not only did he swipe the question away, he swatted it down without even jumping into it. He even gave a nod to the concerns of white America. As a Democrat, as a Black man running for president, that was a very, very sophisticated political move.
You listen to you.
I know. I'm aware. Let them keep listening. I'm not going away. I'm not going away.
Has the Trump presidency changed everything in terms of a celebrity thinking about the White House? 10 years ago, Stephen A. Smith from ESPN running for president, people go, what are you talking about? But now, this time around, people go, hey, that's America.
I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to violate his trust. But I had a governor say this to me, who's actually encouraged me to run. What he said to me was, the work is tough, but not as tough as you think. The real work comes from the states. He said the presidency is not just a statesman position, but it's a bullhorn to utilize on behalf of American citizens everywhere to make sure that the politicians below the Oval Office do what they're supposed to do in the best interest of the country, if not be called out for it. So if you're a senator, if you're a representative, if you are in law enforcement, if you are in the judiciary, if you are a governor, if you are a mayor, if you are a councilman or assemblyman or woman, et cetera, are you doing your job in the best interest of the people you represent? That's where the president comes in, as the constant, incessant, tireless, tenacious reminder that you are supposed to be looking out for America. Let's make sure we're doing that. He said, you got corporations all over the place. You understand? They have CEOs. CEOs are not entrenched in the muck and mire of the everyday workmen 10 layers below them. They're overseers that make sure there's a plan, there are personnel in place to execute those plans, and everybody's eye is on the ball to make sure we're doing what we're doing that's in the best interest of the company.
Why would you give all this up?
That's also
to run
for the president.
Why?
I want to know what Stephen A. Smith thinks about the gender question. I need his answers on things like gun rights. Does he support mass deportation? Because we're at the point where you have to just basically reverse the immigration problem. You literally have to reverse the trend. Millions came in, millions got to go out. See, guys like Smith, they use a lot of words, but they cover up how little they actually intend to actually say to you. And you got to cut through that bullshit.
Why would you give all of this up? All of this money, success, notoriety?
Well, I didn't say I would. That's the reason why I've never announced that I'm running. Because
will you make a
that's-
decision by
that's-
the end of 2026?
I will make a decision in early 2027, but I am not ruling it out because I expect a lot of success to come my way. And Lord help everybody if the amount of success comes my way ensures that I never have to worry about my quality of life ever again.
What do you think your mother would advise you to do at the end of 2026, early 2027?
My mother would have a heart attack.
If you ran?
She wouldn't want me anywhere near
Why not?
politics because of how evil it can be.
It's a rough business. Your business is rough, but politics.
Still worried about his mom again. And this is just a really odd look. You know, we had the last black guy running for president. He had a distant relationship with his immigrant father. Barack Obama technically wasn't an FBA. None of his black blood was foundational black America, you know? Now we got this guy over here. He was raised by his mom and his dad, but, you know, awkward relationship with his dad. And he loves his mama to death. And so basically, it's like he's running on the I'm a black man who loves his mama ticket.
Disingenuous it could be or whatever, I would focus on the change that I'd have the ability to facilitate making. It wouldn't be me alone. I'd have to have an exceptional staff, and I have to have some tireless, committed people determined to make America better. And so that's certainly something that I would definitely consider. I would tell you though, my mother always knew that I was interested in politics. What a lot of people don't realize is that since I was a kid, I was watching Ted Koppel with ABC News Nightline. I'd watch Peter Jennings' World News Tonight. I'd watch Tim Russert on Meet the Press. I watched all of that stuff. I'd watch whether it was gubernatorial, mayoral, or presidential debates like it was the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals. I've always loved that stuff. I'm not an aficionado.
You know what,
by
Red
any stretch of the
Illusion, when you
imagination.
say
I'm certainly
that,
not a
he really does sound like Forrest Gump running for president, you know. My mama always said I should be some kind of president. You know, this is like Forrest Gump running for president, you know. My mama always said I was going to be smart enough to run things. Oh, God damn. This is actually turning into a bad look for black men, Stephen. I got to tell you, this is not a good look for black men. And then, you know, the fact that you're bringing up your mom so much, I got to bring something up too. You reminded me of something here, Stephen. You can't be president if you're scared of black women, Stephen. Yeah, I'm just going to call you out, bro. You cannot be the leader of the free world. We're not just talking about any country. We're talking about America, all right? There's a lot riding on America, all right? A lot of shit goes wrong if America goes wrong. And all I'm saying is the leader of the free world, you can't be afraid of black women.
These angry, mad, opportunistic, lying black women.
Because there are a lot of people in this country who do not like black women, but black women are the base of the Democratic Party.
But black power starts with black women. It just does.
I remember all the fights you had with the black women, and you always back down, Stephen. You always back down. And this is the problem. There is, you know, I was watching that video earlier today, the castrated black men circle. It was like listening to a bunch of men who have all been sexually assaulted in individually unique, various ways. And I was just really, what's a great literary term for? I was crestfallen. You guys ever seen that word in a book before? I was crestfallen at watching this circle of black cocks. And I'm like, look at what they did to look at how they massacred my boy, you know? They managed to diversify black men. and the black castrati table forlorn. Yeah, I was feeling all kind of George R.R. Martin type words about how fucked up it was, but it was a table of niggardly motherfucker. Like, it was just awful. It was just really awful. But the thing is, Stephen A. Smith is kind of like tapping into, again, he's the last black man on the Democrat team, for whatever that's worth. But he is deathly afraid of black women. And what is his ticket gonna be? I want to know what he really thinks about the gender issue, what he thinks about feminism, women's rights, all these things. Because these are the things that are going to trip him up when it comes to actually running.
Genius or anything like that. But I'm a conscientious observer. I'm a voter. And most importantly, I'm not one who's ever thought about just my community. I'm a proud black man. I love my people. And I would always do what I thought was in the best interest of my community. But in the same breath, I'm a proud American. And I would make sure to look out, to do the best of my ability to look out for everybody. And to make sure that whites and Hispanics and Asians and everybody in between, Jewish folks, Catholics folks, Christians, non-denominational, I don't care who it is, I would make sure everyone knew I care about America's overall health and well-being, not one particular group. And I think that that's mandatory in order to be a president of the United States. If you're somebody that just thinks about one group of people, you're not fit for office. And I would never be that person, never.
You're known for your honest, sometimes brutal takes. What's your take, President Trump?
I think that I don't like what I'm seeing, but everything that he does is not wrong. The borders needed to be closed. He was right to do that, but only because Biden opened them. Had Biden followed Barack Obama's method and his plan and what he did in deporting even more people than Trump did in his first term, you wouldn't hear me saying that. But when you let anywhere from 12 to 15 million people cross the border illegally, swearing in our face, spitting in our face and telling us it's raining, figuratively speaking, by telling us there was no border crisis when clearly there was.
I noticed something else recently too about the Democrats. They are at least attempting to make a head fake toward rationality. This is the ultimate political pump fake. You got Hillary Clinton out there saying that immigration has gotten out of control. It's been disruptive and harmful. Stephen A. Smith running for president as the last rational, non-gay black Democrat man. He's like the last straight nigga on the whole Democrat ticket. And he's trying to bring some type of rationale to the party, some type of rationality to the party. But it all just feels like a big head fake. I can't believe you. But you all feel the need to sound like rational, normal people.
Emergency efforts were necessary. Now, do I like what I'm seeing in the streets of America in terms of ICE grabbing people up, snatching people off the streets, detaining folks? No, I do not. Do I like them saying, hey, we're going after the criminals, and come to find out your definition of criminals is anybody who crossed the border illegally, as opposed to the impression you gave us?
Nigga, what does illegally mean? Don't sit here and talk about we're only going after criminals and then be like, well, all he did was cross the border illegally. Nigga, what do you think illegal means? He was a criminal when he got here, bro. That's literally how that works, man. Don't get mad because you can't keep up with the wordplay.
Now, do I like what I'm seeing in the streets of America in terms of ICE grabbing people up, snatching people off the streets, detaining folks? No, I do not. Do I like them saying, hey, we're going after the criminals, and come to find out your definition of criminals is anybody who crossed the border illegally, as opposed to the impression you gave us that these was real bona fide criminals that was doing harm to American citizens? No, I don't like that either. And there would be some modifications that took place, but make no mistake about it, we wouldn't have a border crisis under my watch. Hell no. We wouldn't have this crime that exists.
What would you do, Stephen? Would you build a wall? Would you build a wall? How about a trench? Would you dig a trench? Would you put machine guns on the wall? What would you do? Just another tough talking Negro. Steve really is a slick nigga. You gotta be careful about slick niggas, man. Slick niggas ruin everybody's lives, man.
I'm done.
in the streets of New York, you wouldn't hear about me saying defund the police. We ain't defunding any police. I'm calling 911 when there's a problem. I know you're calling 911 when there's a problem. I'll be damned if I'm going to have less police officers out there. There's going to be more. That's me. I would focus on a flourishing economy and making sure we did everything we could, because I believe when you have something to lose, you know how to behave. When you have something to lose, you know how to behave. If you have nothing, you have nothing to lose. And as a result, you're willing to tear down anything.
That really sounds like welfare. You know, I would just I would make sure people had more money. I would give them money so they have more money, and then they wouldn't commit crimes anymore.
Even if it's America, because you feel betrayed by a country that's supposed to be looking out for you and positioning you to thrive instead of wallow in misery and suffering. So, of course, I would pay attention to the economy. I would pay attention to all of those things. But I think in the end, when I look to answer your question directly about President Trump, everything he does is not wrong. But a lot of things he's done is not right. I don't know about the tariff wars. Okay. I think ISIS and their behavior is excessive. Are you looking out for small businesses in this country? That makes up a chunk of our economy. How much have you been patting your own damn wallets? How many deals overseas are you going to make? We get these pledges. Where's the proof? Is the money coming? Is it really going to stir the economy the way you say it will? Why hasn't the war in Russia, between Russia and Ukraine, been resolved yet? You said you resolved it on day one. That hasn't happened. So there's a lot to complain about when it comes to him. I just don't believe that the way to go about addressing it is denigrating and excoriating our commander-in-chief when he's the one that 77 million plus people voted for to represent the United States of America. I think it's counterproductive, and I think ultimately it works against us.
You come out of a tradition of sportscasters going back to Howard Cosell. Do you think about him sometimes? And
all the time, because I idolized him. The two people that I idolized most in the world of sports was Howard Cosell and Bryant Gumbel. And one of the great, great blessings that I have in my life right now is that Bryant Gumbel was one of the people I communicate with. Because whatever it is that I want to do, whatever it is that I have done, he was a strong, strong source of inspiration because of his brilliance and his versatility. Whatever it was in the world of broadcasting that you needed to be done, Bryant Gumbel could do it. And he did it with the gold standard label attached to it. I revere that man. I think that he is one of the greatest who have ever touched this industry. And it is an absolute honor and a privilege anytime I get a text message from him saying, "What's up, young brother? How you doing?" I love that man, and I love what he's done for this industry. And to me, it is not said enough. He did NFL, he did the NBC Today, he did, so many different things. He did HBO with Real Sports. He is a gold standard if ever there was one. And the fact that he is fond of me gives me reason to believe that I'm doing something right, because I know what a standard bearer he is. And him and Howard Cosell were the two people that I idolized most growing up.
You're having so much fun with sports. I do wonder if you get into politics, it's not as fun. I cover this stuff. Not as fun.
Right. Well, again, but you're making a difference. And I've been doing sports for 30 years. I'm never tired of sports. I'll never leave sports, whether officially or unofficially. I will always be involved in sports. It made me what I am as a professional and helped elevate me as a man. So there will always be an incredibly strong appreciation for what the world of sports has done for me. But when millions of people, if that were to be the case, come to you and they say that they believe that you're the one that can make their lives better in this country, you just can't sit back and ignore that. It doesn't mean I'm going to do it. It doesn't mean I'm going to accept it. But as my pastor, A.R. Bernard from the Christian Cultural Center in New York said to me, you owe them the respect to think about it, to not rule it out, because you don't know what God has planned for you. And you have to think about it along those lines. I know me well enough to know that I'm not compromising my quality of life for it, because I still have daughters to put through college and I still have a life that I want to live. But in the same breath, if my success afforded me the luxury of not having to be concerned about my quality of life, and that combined with millions.
I just thought about something here. Stephen A. Smith has daughters. Has Stephen A. Smith been married? Now you're going to make me go do some Googling here. Let me go Google Stephen A. Smith real quick. He has never been married, but he was once engaged. Huh. Is Stephen A. Smith running as the first black baby daddy president? I mean, listen, as a baby daddy myself, I'm not really trying to shit on baby daddies as a thing. What I'm just pointing out is, do you think America is ready for a baby daddy leadership team? I'm just curious about it. You know, there's levels to this shit, is all I'm saying. Normally, when we have a president, you know, he's a family man with children, owns a dog, goes to church. Does this nigga even church? Where does this nigga church at? And I'm not even I'm not even tripping if whatever church it is, but at this point, it's a political question. Does the nigga even church? Because typically, when you run for president, you have certain things in your cachet, you know, as part of your political resume, you know. Been married for a long time, shows commitment, shows stability, you know, raising more than one child usually, shows an investment in the future, forward thinking, you know, the willingness to love and all these things, right? You know, having a dog and going to church, you know, you're just a normal person in the community. But now you got what, like a godless baby daddy running for the ticket? How you gonna tell niggas they wrong? What's wrong about anything? Like, how you have to actually walk the walk in certain areas. This is why things like pedigree and lineage mattered once upon a time. It just wasn't even expected that the so-called common folk would be called upon to do certain things. We had certain things put aside for particular people, for, you know, the right people. And it does beg the question, you know, if you haven't done all these other things, can you be called the right people? Maybe the majority, and I'm just putting this out, I'm spitballing. Maybe this is true, maybe it's not, but I wonder if the majority of American voters want to be led by an uncommitted baby daddy who out there fucking on these hoes. Because what do you think Stephen A. Smith does in his spare time? You think he just talks sports ball all day? No. How you think he became a baby daddy? He out there fucking on these hoes. You can't be president and fucking on these hoes. That's a security risk, my nigga. No, we're not trying to go for that. Your president can't be out here trying to see what's good with that bitch over there. Like, nah. You can't be at the UN Security Council trying to find out what's up. Like, no. You got to be locked in and committed. You can't be having all these extracurricular activities while we got world peace and geopolitics on the table. Like, this is a bad deal. It's a bad rap. It's a gentleman of leisure. Like, nah, this is a crazy look. He's really trying to be like the first baby daddy president. It just occurred to me while he was talking. He mentioned his daughter, and I'm like, oh, wait. Red flag. I think you need a nigga that's all the way locked in if you want to be the leader of the free world. You can't just be a slick talking nigga. Yo, how you gonna be a president on Tinder, bro? That's evil. How the president gonna be on Tinder, bro? That is evil. No way. This is not a good look. Steve, you're gonna have to marry one of these rappers. Stephen A. Smith gonna have to get engaged to a female rapper, like one of these black female rapper chicks. And that's the only way that he can lock down the black vote and the Democrat ticket. That way he gonna be married, she gonna be knocked up. He gonna have his black card secure. He gonna have his black woman flank protected. That's the only way to make it work, Steven. You're gonna have to marry one of these black female rapper chicks. You're gonna have to marry like Saweetie or her. What's that bitch name? Thames. You're gonna have to marry Thames or some shit like that. Matter of fact, Stephen A. Smith, you need to get with Glorilla. If Stephen A. Smith married Glorilla and knocked her up before the next presidential election, he just might secure the Democratic president on primary ticket. He needs a strong black woman. That is the only thing missing from Stephen A. Smith as a candidate. Because, you know, the nigga obviously wears suits and he can talk good. You know, he's very clean cut. He speaks well for a Negro. All the things, right? All the things. The one thing he doesn't have is the love of a strong, smart, sophisticated, empowered black woman like Glorilla. He needs a Glorilla.
But if man had to find out that his God was a woman,
I say the black woman is God, and
black woman is God.
I say the black woman is God.
The black woman is God because, you know, she was the first organism on this planet.
I mean, I think it's already proven. Obama knew this 20 years before he got into politics. Obama knew this. He had a plan. That nigga had a life mission. You cannot be a black president without a black wife. It is a statistical impossibility. You cannot be a black male president without a black wife. Now, you can be a black female president with a white man. That's a whole other, you know. But as a black man, you have to have a black wife. And I'm saying, Stephen A., you got to knock up Glorilla. That is the only way to really lock down the entirety of the black vote and to remain like firmly in Democrat like limelight or whatever in the Democrat social circle. You got to lock down Glorilla. And then, you know, you work on some type of real platform. It don't even have to be that real. I know you can freestyle most of your shit. That's the good thing about Stephen A. Smith. He can freestyle almost any media appearance. He doesn't really need a speechwriter most of the time. But he needs to really knock up Glorilla before it gets too late. That's the only way to secure the ticket. So how about an R&B singer? No. It has to be Glorilla. I run the numbers, bro. This is I've focus group tested this whole listen, trust me on this. It has to be Glorilla. Why do you think Glorilla went and got her face fixed up? She's getting ready for a higher form of ratchetry. Glorilla is ready to twerk at a higher level. And this is why it has to be Glorilla. If Stephen A. Smith gets with Glorilla, he has the black vote locked down. Hell, I see some of you. I pulled up in traffic and seen some of you shameful niggas bumping Glorilla alone in your car. I've seen you niggas. I ain't never felt so racist against another nigga in my life. Pull up to the red light and a nigga sitting in his car bumping Glorilla. Yeah, Glow. Motherfucking yeah, ho. Like, nigga, what the fuck is that? That's how I know. It has to be Glow, bro. It has to be Glow. Stephen A. Smith, get out the presidential limousine talking about, yeah, Glow. You niggas is with it. You niggas is with it. That's the only way he can lock down a presidential ticket. Stephen A. Smith has to marry a strong black queen. You can't. America is not just going to vote for a baby daddy. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. He needs a strong black queen. He need that, yeah, Glow. That's the only way. That's the only way. He need that, yeah, Glow.
Millions of Americans saying, we see all of these candidates out there. You're the one. Then I'd have to think about it. And I have to tell you, it's not something I'm inclined to run from.
You watch General Hospital to relax?
Well, yes, I do. A matter of fact, it's almost mandatory. Matter of fact,
The nigga watch soap operas? No, not General Hospital. I would have respected it if the nigga said like cartoons or anime. Nigga said I watch General Hospital. The nigga got women hobbies, bro. How you want to be the leader of the free world and you got woman hobbies? Ain't no way. I remember he was on. I think he was on General Hospital. I think he made an appearance on General Hospital, if I'm not mistaken. Matter of fact, wasn't he like a hitman or something? It was All My Children. I know he made like some type of appearance on one of them shows. The nigga literally got female hobbies, bro. And he want to be the leader of the free world, man. This is what happens when you're a black male Democrat. You just do all kind of weird shit. Ain't no trust in these niggas no more.
I'm telling you, man. This the reason why I be hating niggas, man. I'm telling you, man. It just be us. I be hating niggas, man.
it's so bad with me in General Hospital. I think that I would mandate that I not be bothered, whether it's on the East Coast from 3 to 4, whether it's on the West Coast from 2 to 3, whatever time it comes on and whatever locale I'm in. I would almost mandate that I'm not to be bothered during that hour.
What is it about General Hospital?
I've been watching this since I was 8 years old.
It's just a calming.
I love it.
It's an oasis for you.
I love
He used
it.
to watch it with his mom. That's really all that is. He used to watch it with his mom, and now he can't break the habit. He watches General Hospital to feel closer to his dead mom because that's what he used to do when he was a little boy. Sit in her lap, on a busy workday afternoon and watch General Hospital with his mom. How you got a daddy and you still a son husband? I'm telling you, the black family dynamic really does need to be studied, bro. The nigga had a whole daddy at home, but he was a son husband though.
And now that I have a recurring role on the soap opera, I've been on there for over 7 years. I mean, it's an incredible honor to work for the show. And it is very relaxing because it's the one time during the day I don't find my brain just running all over the place, multitasking, thinking about 1,000 things. When I'm watching General Hospital, everybody knows, especially my sister Sumatra, she tries to warn people, tell them, just leave him alone. Don't bother him.
You know, speaking of his dad, there's one last thing I got to share with you guys because I found it interesting. You know, as much as he like was glazing his mom and oh mama this and he was really on his Bobby Boucher. The nigga really talk about his mama like Bobby Boucher, but it's like I heard him say something very interesting about his dad at another point, and I got to touch on this. This is very, very funny.
Smith grew up in the working class neighborhood of Hollis, Queens in New York City. His mother, a nurse who worked 16-hour shifts, encouraged him as he struggled with dyslexia and with his father.
Well, my father said that I was a lost cause. My father was the one who told my mother, he's just not smart.
That still hurt?
Well, it hurt for a very, very long time. But it subsided significantly once I proved him wrong, and even he had to concede that I was a different beast.
Daddy knew you was dumb, huh? Daddy just knew, hey, the boy just might not make it. I don't know what to tell you. You know, you love him all you want, but the boy just might not make it. Well, obviously he did make it very big. So I just found that really interesting. presidential daddy issues. First it was Obama, Dreams of My Father. And now you got Stephen A. Smith, you know. I loved it in my black mama, but you know, my daddy was difficult. My daddy told me I was dumb. Black family dynamic is all over the place right now. But what would Stephen A. Smith actually run for? Like, because you got to have a thing. You know, Trump, you know, he had Make America Great Again. It was a little bit vague, a little bold, but it worked. It was something people could just emotionally latch onto. What would Stephen A. Smith like really stand on? You know, straight black men can still be presidential. Straight black men can still be Democrats. Like, what would the overall point of Stephen A. Smith running for president actually be at this point?
My issue was he didn't take care of the family, so my mother had to.
Damn. Presidential son husband. Again, you had a dad in the house, but you were still your son husband. You were your mom's son husband, apparently.
He left New York after he won a basketball scholarship to Winston-Salem State University in North Carolina. But an injury cut short that dream, so he turned to newspapers. Eventually, his columns caught the attention of ESPN executives, who gave him a show.
Anybody with sense should know Kobe's the man right now.
His first stop after signing the contract, his mother's office.
I walked up in there and I said, let's go. And I looked at the person running the center. I said, my mother will not be working here any longer. I said, it's over. And my mother never worked again. And
a nigga retired his mom and his dad was still going to work every day. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. You retired your mom and you made your dad ride the bus to work every morning? Oh, that was wicked. That was a wicked move. That was cold, bro. That was cold. You retired your mom. What happened to dad?
to this day, I've achieved a lot of things, but that is the proudest moment of my life. That's me.
His combative commentary has its critics, and he has generated controversy, sometimes to the point of ESPN taking action.
First Take, a dominant presence in sports media, but it has some haters.
Well, let them hate. They ain't winning. We winning. Do you really think a show would be number one for 13 consecutive years if it was unpleasant and uncomfortable for people to watch? The critics that say that want you to think that because you ain't watching their show.
I'm talking.
I'm not apologizing. You're okay. I let you talk until you went to the A word. But some of your critics call you Screaming A. Smith. That you've made journalism and sports all about shouting.
Well, those are people that want you and others to ignore my resume. I was a college beat writer. I was a pro beat writer. I became an NBA columnist. White men are all over the place screaming all the time. They don't call them screaming whatever.
Now you want to play the race card, Stephen? It's because I'm black.
In fact, they call them passionate, and they never associate the word anger. But somehow they do that with me, despite the fact that I smile a lot of reasons to be happy.
Just recently, at age 58, he became a big name at SiriusXM with a daily sports show, and now a weekly political show too.
My guest has served as the 56th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives.
The Registered Independent interviews leaders from both parties.
Please welcome back to the show House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
And sometimes a Sunday morning correspondent.
The one and only Robin Costas with me. Pleasure to meet you, my man. How's
Pleasure to
everything
see
going?
you. Thank you so much for having me.
But his move toward politics has raised eyebrows in press boxes.
First of all, I don't give a damn what Pete Hegseth has to say because I will tell you right now, he was never qualified for the job.
And in Washington,
Stephen A. Smith may run for president, as you know. Do you have any advice for Stephen A.?
and even President Trump is keeping an eye on Smith.
Stephen A., he's a good guy. He's a smart guy. I love watching him. He's got great entertainment skills. I'd love to see him run.
So when somebody,
I think the Democrats want something like a Trump on their side, meaning somebody who's charismatic, somebody who has a huge amount of media visibility on their own without having anything to do with politics, and somebody that can then easily transition into being a political lightning rod figure. They want their own Trump-esque figure, and they're trying to use Stephen A. Smith because they think, Democrats still think the black guy is cool right now as a cultural token, and I don't know if that's as true as they want it to be. America's low-key over the cool black guy part of America right now. Most people have seen a cool black guy. We're kind of over this shit now.
He talks about me being a president or whatever. I have no desire to be a politician. Zero. I have no desire to run for office.
But you're not ruling it out.
I'm not ruling it out because I'd love to be on the debate stages against some of these individuals that think they're better suited to run the country, because I think that the American people deserve to listen to and hear from somebody who genuinely cares about making life better for them instead of yourself. Do you realize the way they've been acting on Capitol Hill? All you have to do is disagree with the other side. You don't even have to look at a bill.
Would you run as a Democrat?
Yeah, because I couldn't see myself running as a member of the GOP. I'm a fiscal conservative.
His mama was a Democrat. His mama would never forgive him. You don't even have to say anything beyond that, Stephen. You're a Democrat because your mama was a Democrat and you used to watch General Hospital together when you was a little boy.
But if man had to find out that his God was a woman,
I say the black woman is God, and
Black woman is God.
I say the black woman is God.
The black woman is God because, she was the first organism on this planet.
I can't stand high taxes, but I'm a social liberal in the same breath because I believe in living and let live. I pay attention to the desolate and the disenfranchised. Yes, I like strong borders. That's absolutely true. We never needed open borders, but we don't need it to be completely closed either. We're a gorgeous mosaic.
Sounds like you're getting a stump speech ready, Stephen.
No, there's no stump speech. I can give a speech without a note in front of me.
When you deserve the compliment, I'll give it to you. When you don't, I won't.
Whether he jumps into politics or not, one thing is clear. Stephen A. Smith is always up for a debate.
I will confess to you, I'm giving strong consideration to being on that debate stage for 2027. I've got this year coming up, 2026, to think about it, to study, to know the issues, etc., because I don't know everything, but I am going to spend this year thinking about that before I make a decision as to what I want to do.
Like I said, Stephen A., you got a couple of months to go. You need to lock down a strong black woman. I say, I'm telling you, it has to be Glorilla, all right? It has to be Glow. You and Glow got to make the ticket. That's the only way. You got to cover your flank. You can't be the baby daddy president. It's just not going to work for you, Steve. But we'll see what happens, y'all. We'll see what happens. I just wanted to go live real quick and cover this Stephen A. Smith thing because I want him to run. I want him to run, but I just for the sake of content, I'm at the point where I don't even care about what actually happens. I just need the content now. It'll be interesting to talk about. I just want to see things happen. But I'm going to get up out of here. You guys have a good night. Hit that like button on your way out. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys coming out. Support the show. We are done.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.